when we have an M next to the N like that, what operation is that?
Multiplication.
That is, I don't know.
Is it not multiplication?
Is M next to M, is that multiplication?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's multiplication. So this log rule, what we're doing is we're rewriting as two separate logs. And then the multiplication becomes two separate logs with an addition in between. Okay? So I'm going to tell you where that comes from. It's not going to make it completely clear, but sort a little bit. So say we have, here's the base. So say it was b to the fourth. I'm not going to put an m and an n. I'm going to put b to the fourth and b to the third because that is easier for you to understand. When I multiply, what do I do with my exponent? Oh, you add them. We add them. So it's b to the 4 plus 3 or b to the 7. That is where the multiplication becomes addition comes from. Okay, because when we multiply, because remember that log is equal to the exponent. So we're saying, what are we doing with those exponents? We're adding them. Okay, because each one represents an exponent and an exponent. So now when we take m and divide it by n, we then make it subtraction. And that comes from, say we had b to the 5th over b squared. A hand, please. What would we do with the exponents when we divide? We subtract, that's right. So this becomes b to the 5 minus 2 or b to the 3rd. And that's where this one comes from. So the division becomes subtraction. So right now you have these written down for you, but when you go to take your test, you're not going to have these. Okay? This is not something that you're going to be given.
Miss Cassandra, this is semester to come on
So, yes.
Can I get water right there?
So we have this one, we have m to the n. And when we have m to the n, what we do is we take that n and we move it into the front. So it's n times log base b of n. So this comes from, say we have a b to the 4th, and we square it. What do we do when we have an exponent to an exponent? What do we do with those exponents? So what do we do with those exponents? Yes, thank you. It's multiply. So it's b to the 8th. Thank you for your patience there. So when we have an exponent to an exponent, we are multiplying. And that's where this multiplication comes from. Okay, so I know that doesn't make it crystal clear, but I'm just telling you where it comes from. So you've got these 3 rules. What we're going to do today is we're going to expand logs using those 3 rules. So on this first one, log base 9 of AB, we have AB. What operation is that? Multiplication.
That wasn't my question. Yeah, but that was kind of the question.
So this is multiplication. So which log rule are we going to use? The first, the second, or the third? The first one, because this is multiplication. So we're going to make this log base 9 of A plus log base 9 of B. Does that make sense? So we just rewrote out the log base 9 of A because it's multiplication, Cohen. We made it plus. Log base 9. So when it's multiplication, it becomes addition. Right? It is 2 separate logs. So now number 2. Can I get a hand for which rule you would use for number 2?
Wait, that's
1, 2, or 3. That's it. That's all you're going to do. Thank you for raising your hand, Jason. Which one? 3. So this is a base to an exponent. So we want to use that one where we move that exponent to the front. So what would it be, Jason? What would we do with the 3? Yes, so it's 3 times log base 5 of x. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
A little, it's like you said, it's a little complicated, but I feel like the intention is, yeah, I see. A little more practice, it'll be like, right.
Yes.
But,
Okay, so now, number 3. This is division. So can I get a hand, please, as to which rule we would use? 1, 2, or 3? A hand, please. Rule, please. Which rule we would use? Honey. Yes. So you want to do it for us, or somebody else in your group do it? Using rule 2. Log base 8 of minus
log 8.
Yes, good. So we just rewrote it as 2 different logs, and we changed from division to subtraction. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're getting a little more complicated. Number 4, log base 3 of a to the 4th, a to the 3rd over a to the 4th. Anybody have any idea what we would do first? So this group here, what do you think we would do first? We're going to subtract. So we're going to write it as log base 3 of what? A to the 3rd minus of b to the 4th. And now we want to keep expanding. And Blaze, do you know what we would do next?
You take the exponent.
Exactly. So what would this become, this log base 3 of a to the 3rd? So we moved the 3 to the front. Is it 3 log base 3 of a? Does that make sense? Yeah. So want to take a guess as what the next one would become?
4 log to the 30.
Yep. Does that make sense? Because the 3 is your exponent here, when we can move that to the front. That's 2, yeah, when it's an exponent, you move it to the front. Yeah, so that's one of the log rules. That was rule number 3. So number 5, we're multiplying several things in there, and then we got one variable with an exponent. Somebody want to take a guess as to what we would do on this one? Let's deal with the multiplication first. What do you think we would do if we're dealing with the multiplication? This group here. What would we do? Multiplication becomes what? Addition. So we're going to make it a log base 3 of u plus what would come next? This group, tell me what would come next. Log base 3 of u plus. Yep. Log base 3 of v plus, because it's all multiplication. Yep. Log base 3 of w to the 6th. And now we can do one more step to expand it. One of those you need to rewrite. Which one? So again, this group here.
log base 3w 6.
Yes, and so what does it become?
6 log base 3w.
Yep. Okay, go ahead and do the U try, please. First.
Bro, I swear. I know I read.
Oh, wait a second. You said that. You said?
Bro, I know I had my paper. I know it was there. Where they go?
I don't know if I can use
I know.
Now do the next one. So now
it.
you use your
Can you still have been my paper somehow?
So you need to look at somebody else's.
Okay, I was okay.
So I can do it later, but right now I have to do this.
Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yusuf, can I use the bathroom first, please?
I really have to go. I'm
You're going 2 minutes over.
I'm not gonna go 30 seconds. I'm gonna
I give it to me.
Why are you laughing? I'm funny about that. What are you doing?
Snitch on Bashika, right? Snitch on her, right? She was such a pass up there. I would do it. I'm gonna snitch on her. Yusuf, tell you. I would have Yusuf so much better. I would have told her Bashika.
Make sure waiting.
No.
I thought Yusuf was next to me. Why didn't Bashika?
There was somebody, I let her go for another reason. Okay, here's the answer. Everyone turn around and check. Get it? We're all done with it. Questions on that answer? Here. One more. Straightforward, huh? Did you get that? Okay, so any idea what we might do on number 7?
This is like a lot for me. Like I think it's like 610 units.
That's what I would like to do. I would like to simplify and get rid of that parentheses first. For me, that works easier. You can do it separate. You can move that 2 and then do it from there. I think it's easier if we just get rid of that parentheses. So when we have an exponent to an exponent, what do we do with those exponents? Multiply. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then we have a to the 1 times 2, which would be a squared. So now expanding that, just group here. Tell me what my next step would be. Expanding that.
No.
So we're almost done. Good job, Henry. Somebody else in that group, what would we do next? And tell me what you would get. Good. Good. Questions on that?